That when I say Omoyele Sowore is a mediocre and is a joker, and he has no plans, all these ones where they do, just like his friend Seun Kuti told me, he knows. All these things where they do now to get international funding. Seun Kuti said it.
The friendship between VeryDarkMan and Seun Kuti had once felt unbreakable. Not long before everything fell apart, the two men had stood together at Fela Kuti's grave, paying homage to the legend whose spirit Seun carries in his blood and whose legacy VDM had publicly defended. When Wizkid made comment that touched on Fela's name, it was VDM who stood in Seun's corner without hesitation. They were allies. Then came Sowore, and everything changed. When Sowore publicly criticized the detention of Blord and called it an abuse of legal process, Seun Kuti aligned himself with that position. He spoke during a live session, arguing that the issue was not really about Blord the person, but about a pattern, police taking sides in disputes involving influential people, the presumption of guilt before any trial, a justice system that bends depending on who is watching. He said he had personally reached out to both VDM and Sowore, trying to calm the situation, but that neither listened. He framed it as bigger than any individual. VDM had it as a betrayal. To him, Seun had chosen a side, and it was the wrong one. What made it sting more was the accusation VDM later leveled directly, that Seun had previously promised to confront Sowore about his involvement in the Blord situation, and then quietly changed his position. VDM saw this as dishonesty from someone he considered a close friend. He went public, reminding Seun that he had defended him even when Seun slapped a police officer on duty, a moment VDM admitted he personally believed was wrong, and yet he still made videos calling for Seun's freedom. He threw that loyalty back at Seun, contrasting it with what he described as Seun picking sides against him now. Seun did not stay quiet. He clapped back at VDM supporters, the Ratos, calling them rats and dismissing them sharply. Then he went further, invoking his father's name as a measuring stick. He said Fela fed thousands of people, drawing a pointed contrast with what he called VDM's charity, boreholes and small interventions that, in Seun's view, did not rise to the level of genuine activism. It was a precise and personal blow, aimed at the very thing VDM takes most pride in, his NGO, his donations, his claim to be fighting for ordinary Nigerians. VDM's response was wide-ranging and defiant. He accused Seun of tribal bias, implying that ethnicity was coloring Seun's judgment of the situation. He declared flatly that Sowore would never be president of Nigeria, and that no amount of emotional pressure would force him into fully endorsing the man. He was careful, however, to draw a distinction. He said he supported Sowore's release from detention, because holding someone simply for calling the Tinubu government thieves was unjust. But supporting his freedom, VDM insisted, was not the same as supporting his politics or his activism. I don't believe in him at all, he said. He ended with a firm statement directed at both Seun and Sowore. He would not work with either of them. The two men unfollowed each other on Instagram. A friendship built in shared battles had quietly collapsed, not with a single explosion, but through the steady accumulation of disagreements about loyalty, principle, and what it actually means to stand for something in Nigeria.